For those of you that are joining us for the first time, or even if it's not your first time, again, my name is Emily. I'm the registered dietitian here at Harvest Market. I'm up in my kitchen where I am almost every week, and I'm cooking something delicious. So every week here at Harvest Market, I put out a meal kit that I have tested and developed and created just for you, and made sure that it's super delicious and easy to execute. You can order the meal kits online. You can subscribe to my email. You will get the email sent right to your inbox where you can have the order form. I can only do so many, and it's been hard to keep up with demand, which is a great thing, so make sure that you order early. This week, so each kit comes with one of these, which is a detailed instruction sheet with pictures to follow along with, so you don't have to cook with me if you don't feel like it. In fact, a lot of folks cook Tuesday and Wednesdays, so, or maybe on the weekend. But it comes with this, and I'm not going to use it because I don't think I need it this time. Sometimes I do, even though I create but it's been a long week. I create it on, like, I do it on Friday, and then, you know, it's almost a week. So, any hoozles. Tonight we're making flautas. So flautas are like crispy rolled tacos. They are like a cousin to taquitos, which are essentially the same thing, but with corn tortillas. Typically they are deep fried, but I'm not a fan of deep fat frying. Really mostly because it's really messy and really stinky, and I don't want to do that in my kitchen, and I don't have a deep fat fryer. So couple things that I want to address really quickly. Some of you might ask, well, can you just like what we're going to be doing is we're going to be pan frying them. So I just have a little bit of oil, and we're going to put it in our pan, we're going to heat it up, and then we're going to pan fry and get them crispy in our pan. So you might be thinking, can I make this in my oven to get them crispy, like brush them with oil? I tried that multiple times, did not work. So the reason being is the pan frying really kind of like seals and very quickly the outside. So when I put them in the oven, what happened was it was too slow of a process. So it kind of unfurled, and it didn't work very well. So anyway, could you do them in an air fryer? Perhaps. But I like it this way because it's kind of the happy medium between, it's just a lighter version of having to deep fat fry. Okay, so let's get to it. I've got all of my ingredients. This is what comes in your meal kit. Everything you see here is what comes in your meal kit. All the things you need to make this dish. I'm going to be making the Pico De Gallo first because a lot of people got that, and I want to show how I like to make that. It comes together really quickly. While I'm doing that, I want my pan to be preheating because I'll be making the filling. If you want to do two things at once, you absolutely can. If you feel comfortable, like, yeah, I got this, I don't need to wait step by step, go ahead and throw your ground turkey or beans into your preheated pan, get that sauteing. But first things first, we're gonna make our pico. So my pico, I've been obsessed with this lately because it's so simple, and it's so yummy and just super fresh tasting. So we're gonna open up our pico veg. I need some scissors for that because these bags are great. They don't open at all, but sometimes it's hard to get them open. So we have some onion and we have some cilantro. This is a super simple pico. Oh, thanks, Lori. Super simple pico, comes together in a flash, tastes super fresh. This is one that you can keep on the books, you guys, as just a great recipe to have on hand anytime you make any tacos, anything like that. So I do want to save my tomatoes for last because they get kind of messy. So I'm just going to peel the outside of my onion, just get all that skin off. We're going to do a really nice fine dice on this. So I'm going to go ahead and do those horizontal or parallel to the cutting board cuts through my onion, not all the way through, keeping that root end intact. Root end. Then we're going to go ahead and do some vertical cuts. And this is really going to be like the width of your dice. So you want to make sure to make them really nice and close together, nice and small. Again, not all the way through so that onion doesn't fall apart. And then we're going to turn it And we're just going to cut down like this. And that's going to give us that beautiful dice. Those pieces are just going to fall right off. Ta-da! Okay, so next up we're going to do our cilantro. Now, you know, there are people of different schools of thought who feel, oh, thanks, Lindsay. Do you already make it? Excellent. Who do not eat the stem. I don't care. I don't care. It's edible to me. It's not super woody. It's pretty tender. But if you don't like the stem of cilantro, just take off the little leaves from the stem and you're good to go. I'm going to run my knife through a nice chop here. Again, preheat your oven if you already haven't. I want a nice hot, I didn't mean oven. I meant pan, thank you. You guys know what I'm talking about. And you also know by Thursday, my mind is pretty much gone after making 200 meal kits. So, and hand delivering all of them. I'm a little loopy by the end of the week. Okay, so I'm cutting off that root end of the Romas. Romas are great for pico because they are super duper firm. And we're actually gonna take out some of that juice because I want this to be kind of like a dry pico, if that makes sense. So it's not like a salsa, okay? It's like pieces of the vegetable. So I'm going to cut my tomato. And again, hey, you know how big of a stickler I am for sharp knives, how important those are. If you cannot cut through a tomato, if you're like sawing your knife through, you definitely need to sharpen your knife. I use this teeny tiny little guy to sharpen my knife. It gets the job done, okay? That's all you need, nothing fancy. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take my hands and I'm just going to kind of just squeeze out the really seedy parts. You can keep like the middle piece because that's really firm. All right, so now we want a beautiful nice dice on these guys too. So what I'm doing is I'm gonna cut nice long slices the length of the tomato. So they look like little tomato french fries right now, okay? And then we're just gonna turn them a little bit and do another slice. And that's gonna give us our beautiful little pico dice. And you're gonna see it come together right away. Those little cubes of tomato right in the bowl with everything else. Beautiful. So just chop these up. All right, almost done with our tomatoes. I'm actually gonna get my ground turkey going in the pan for the sake of time. The great part is I don't even have to touch the turkey. It's nice and wrapped in here. I just unwrap it and pop it in the pan. Ta-da! You wanna hear that sizzle right away? So I'm not gonna touch it. I'm gonna let it brown before I flip it. So I like to make my pico just so it can kind of sit for a minute. When the salt hits the tomatoes and the onion, it starts to bring out some really, really good flavor and kind of leach out their juices a little bit. And so I like to let that sit and let everything kind of marinate and get to know one another in my bowl because they usually taste better when they get to know each other for just a minute. Look at this. Okay, we're adding the seasoning. So simple. You know what this is? All it is red wine vinegar and salt. You guys, now I do not shy away from spices. You'll see that here in just a moment. But guess what? The beauty of this is its simplicity. It is so simple, and I like to be able to taste the freshness of everything. Give that a little stir. You've got fresh pico right there. Their veggies ready. Another diced onion. There's a lot of onion in this, and a lot of onion in my cooking always, because the onion is, it's just, it holds so many great, wonderful flavors, and I feel that it's such a great base to so many dishes, and it adds just such a depth of flavor, such great aromatics. Love it, love it, love it. If you're not a fan of onion or can't eat it or don't eat it, that's fine. but I love it, so I'm eating it. We're gonna do a dice. So we wanna make sure that we have a small dice on our veggies that are going in our flautas because they're gonna be nice and small and rolled really tight. So we want to be sure to do a nice dice on these. I like to just give my mushrooms a wipe with a paper towel. Mushrooms have dirt. They grow from the ground. That's just the way it is, folks. You know? A little dirt never hurt nobody. So we're just gonna wipe that off. And I like to do this way so that my mushrooms don't get all wet and soggy and soak up any extra water. All right. We're gonna do a nice small dice on our zooks. If you even thought about it, don't peel your zucchini. I don't know why you would, but don't peel it. No need. Ooh, it's smelling good already, and I haven't even done anything. Okay, I'm just running my knife through my mushrooms. All right. Make sure your turkey is broken up really good. I haven't even added anything to my pan right now in terms of oil or anything because it doesn't need it with this turkey. All right, I'm gonna pick up my cutting board right into the pan. I like this cutting board because it kind of like folds like that. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, smelling so stinking fantastic. So good. So we're gonna add the spices next. Look at this. Look at all of those beautiful spices. So I just added my spices. We're gonna give these a really good stir. So this is gonna really start to darken up the mixture a lot once we get everything stirred around and mixed together. So make sure that you get everything coated. You want everything coated in the spice mixture. So good. And I love the flavor of this. So if you got the pico, good on you, because I love the contrast between kind of like the dark and smoky and the pico, like really bright and limey. We're still at about a medium heat. We're still really good sizzle going on. So now we're gonna add the red wine vinegar and paste. So red wine vinegar is essential in any good dish. Acts as an acid. That acid is gonna brighten and lighten all of the flavors. It's really gonna bring out the natural flavors of everything in the dish and just kind of like heighten it. It's gonna make everything pop. So think of it as like a filter on like an otherwise really kind of gray and drab picture. And so you stick a filter on there, it's like, it makes everything pop. That's kind of what vinegar does to a dish. And we're gonna add the paste. That is going to give us a nice deep concentrated tomato flavor. It's going to add to kind of the thickness and richness of the filling and make it kind of a little bit cohesive along with the cheese. So go ahead and mix that in. It's gonna make it darker still, this filling. We just wanna melt that tomato paste in. We wanna heat it through. And that red wine vinegar, if your pan is hot enough, it should just kind of bubble and sizzle away pretty much fairly quickly. All right, at this point, I feel good about this. I'm gonna turn off the heat. I'm gonna open up my cheese. And for the sake of time, I'm rushing a little bit through this, but everything is still really nice and softened and good to go. And really, you don't need to cook off your tomato paste for long, maybe just like a minute. Okay, I added in my shredded cheddar cheese. So we're adding this in now so that it can melt. So I'm just kind of folding this in. I'm really working it all around so that it starts to melt. And you'll start to see the stringy, like I'm seeing the strings between, the pieces. Oh my gosh, so good. And this will make it, again, really nice and cohesive for us. So this is where a nonstick really comes in handy. I'm gonna transfer it to just this bowl right here, and I'm just gonna wipe out this skillet. Okay, we're gonna get these puppies out. These are my tortillas. Okay. So I'm adding in my oil. So I like to kind of do this, swirl it about my pan so that everything is nice and coated. Then we're gonna take, oh sorry, my microphone cord is dangling here. Let me scooch this way a little bit. Okay, here we go. So we're gonna take a little bit of this filling. You don't wanna overfill by any means because it will start to pop out the sides and then it really won't work for us. So we're gonna roll it. So I'm gonna kind of tuck this in a little bit and roll. Tuck and roll, tuck and roll. Then we're gonna place it seam side down. So I'm gonna give it another little twirl about the pan, my oil. Seam side down. And you should hear a sizzle pretty quickly. So this, you know, you want to work fairly quickly with this. So I like when they all cook at about the same time. So I'm just making sure that my oil is, and I'm pressing down gently with this spatula so that those seams just like get really, really stuck. Oh boy, this looks good. They're ready to flip. They're nice and toasty. Oh yeah, look at that. I like to flip with this. I tried with the tongs, but it just kind of like, it didn't work very well. Check, check, check. All right, this one's done. Nice and crispy, look at that. I don't know if you can hear that, but there's a crust on that puppy. Oh yeah, baby. My middle seems to be like hotter than the outer sides of my pan, which I think is typical for this range. So toasty. Yowza. Check it out. These are my flautas. Ta-da! Nice and toasty roasty. I like a nice dark golden brown on here. So again, just kind of let them sit for a minute just to cool down. But you pretty much want to serve them right away because their crisp will kind of lose. Don't forget about serving this with your pico, so you can like cut these in half at an angle and enjoy them. That's dinner, folks. A wonderful evening. If you're not eating this, I hope you are eating something yummy and enjoyable and satisfying. Have a great weekend. I will see you guys next time. Take care.